Hello everybody and welcome back to the Ultimate Racing Championships, and we are now ready for the Xbox One Tier 1 race here in Monaco. We saw a pretty action-packed Tier 2 race just then, and now I'm back, James KC, for the Tier 1 race, and I think we could expect a good one here as well. Unfortunately, and this is a real shame, we've got a very poor turnout tonight, only 13 drivers, which we apologise. But yeah, 3 teams missing today completely. No ERL drivers, and then also we're missing the second ILR team. They're here with their A team, but unfortunately couldn't find anyone for their B team. And the same with War LCR, which is a shame. So yeah, ILR Black are here, War LCR A are here, but their second teams, unfortunately, couldn't find anyone, which is a real shame. So we've only got 13 drivers, and there's someone missing as well from RFL. So that's a real shame. But the drivers we do have are still pretty handy, and we've got a new one here. We've got Snazzy Evening 44, who is an interesting one. We saw him last in the URC back at the pre-season test, and I believe he was the fastest driver. I'll look back at this. I think he was the fastest driver of the day. I'm just checking back on the results here, and yeah, he was the fastest driver in pre-season testing, and that was for ERL. But since then, he's not appeared for them in the league so far, and now he's driving for ILR, strengthening their already strong lineup, reserving today for TRL Limitless. And of course, going alongside our runaway championship leader and undefeated OMG, it's Joe. So that should be interesting. The pace setter from pre-season testing teaming up with our runaway championship leader. Then, of course, we've got LCR Leopard, who was very strong last time out, fought through from not a very good qualifying position to finish second on track, but took third. But he's some 64 points behind OMG It's Joe. But he has taken the fight to him in a few races. Bahrain, of course, that standout one where he won on track but was penalised for the overtaking manoeuvre he made on the penultimate corner. And yeah, last time out, if he qualified well, he would have had good pace to fight with Joe. But 64 points, a long way to make up for him. And also for VSR Syrah, who's 72 points back now on 54. Has been another man challenging for wins, but so far I am so surprised that OMG It's Joe has managed to keep this record going with the standard of drivers that have been up against him. But it just shows how unbelievably strong he's been this season, and by no means is he's running away with the championship, but each race has been pretty competitive, bar last week where he ran away with it, really. But yeah, let's see if it continues. This is obviously a good one. For surprise is Monte Carlo. I've seen 3 times so far, 4 times now, and it's very, very close at the top between LCR Leopard and Snazzy Evening. Oh, and it's even closer now. Look at that, 0.006 of a second between VSR Verstappen, who now goes to the top ahead of LCR Leopard, and Snazzy Evening only half a tenth behind in third. So very, very tight so far from those who've set a lap. Let's see what OMG It's Joe can do. He's just coming through the Nouvelle Chicane now. See what tyres people are using. Yeah, a lot of people straight onto the Hypersoft tyres. Of course, in previous weeks we've seen people have a go on the harder compound first, but people bring plenty. They go softer on their tyres and bring loads of Hypersoft tyres here, because it's obviously important to have a good qualifying position, and you need the softest compounded tyres for that. And boy, oh boy, has OMG It's Joe used those tyres to good effect. Going to the top, all by 0.3, but that's quickly rebuted quite nicely by Leopard, who can't quite knock OMGXJ off the top, but goes within a tenth of a second with that effort there to go up into second place now. Verstappen started coming into the pits, obviously, who was initially at the top. Who else have we got? We got NW Noel here. Not sure if he's on a lap, but if he is, he's being massively held up there by flying Rossi. Not sure what's going on there, but Rossi definitely getting in the way of NW Noel. Not sure if it was on a lap or not. And here comes MGX Joe as well, although he's just getting into the pits. And so will Leopard as well. He's done a couple of laps on those tyres, so they're past their best. But yeah, we saw people doing this kind of quick turnarounds, getting in as many runs as they could on the Hypersoft tyres, because track position is just so important that you just need to qualify well. So people put absolutely everything strategically into this session to get right up the grid. But at the moment, it's kind of our status quo, shall we say, with MGX Joe there at the top. Seven minutes gone so far in session, so still plenty of time for the drivers to improve. I'll just do a quick run through in the championship. Just doing a quick social media message just to promote the stream, so you get that out there. And yeah, the championship at the moment then. In terms of the league, we'll go on to now. War LCR closed up last time out. Of course, they had both cars on the podium, and ILR only had MGX Joe. Of course, took maximum, well, the full 25, but those double podiums allowed War LCR to close to 24 points behind. They're without Pinecone, who's their regular driver, or Morzo, who filled in for him last week. They've got Melanie here today, who did a little bit of driving for their B team as a reserve earlier on the season. Now he's reserving for their A team, so super sub Melanie, looking to help them. But yeah, snazzy evening. Him joining ILR, I think, is really going to make them a tough team to beat with that 24-point gap. The only other team really within a sniff at the moment is VSR Red, who obviously have VSR Syrah and Infamous, who have put in strong results pretty much every single race. They've had one car at least in the top 5 every race, and a lot of the time 2 cars solidly in the points, so that's good to see from them. But they're 62 points back, as I said, points overall. And then we've got the War LCR B team all the way down on 43, so quite a big gap there. And the rest of the guys kind of just fighting for the odd 1 or 2 points. But with only 13 cars here, and of course Monaco being quite an atrocious race, shall we say, this is a fantastic opportunity for people to pick up some big points. You know, those kind of teams lower down the championship who don't have so many points as it stands. Right, cars doing their outlaps now, and also LCR Leopard onto a lap. We've still got 8 minutes to go, so time to do this run and then casually come back in and do another one without too much pressure on the time. Or even do a couple of laps per stint, or Leopard's run wide there, so that's compromised that lap, that's gone. But here goes MGX Joe. He's just starting a lap now, so let's ride on board with our championship leader and provisional pole sitter at the moment, as he does a lap of Monte Carlo, of course, starting with Saint Devote, which is really crucial to use all the track, getting close to the wall. Going through Casino Square now, going a little bit to the right to avoid the bump into Mirabeau. Braking crucial here, make sure you don't lock up the brake. hold the speed through there into the Lowe's hairpin, slowest corner in Formula 1. I'm very, very patient on the throttle, and through Portier, lining up the power into the tunnel, which is the largest section of flat out driving pretty much on the track. Braking for the Nouvelle chicane, getting really as much onto the curb as possible without cutting. Through to back now, be brave here. Ooh, which Andreas Joe just slightly missed the apex there. Through the swim pool again, be brave. This is all bravery, this section, but he's just lost the car there, hasn't he? It was a little bit wide into the back and then through the swimming pool. The car just wasn't quite hooked up, so backs off. I presume he'll just go straight for another one now. Got 7 minutes left, there's no point coming in. And yeah, he's just gearing it up again, so let's go on board with him. Let's just see if there's any difference in this lap. Oh, loses the car into turn 1 there a little bit. Rear sliding out, going up the hill. We saw a couple of cars crash going up the hill in Tier 2, which I've never seen before. But yeah, a couple of cars just doing that in Tier 2. Oh, almost hitting the inside wall there. And yeah, he's lost out there again. Just kind of had to steer out the corner because he almost went into the wall. So that's a couple of failed laps there for MGX Joe. And while that's been happening, Leopard has gone to the top by 0.2 of a second. I think that's his... yeah, he's not going for another one. Yeah, good effort there from Leopard. 1 minute 7.603. Here comes Snaz Evening, currently in third. He'd love to take a pole on his first URC race outing, I'm sure. But he's going to have to work for it, of course. Comes to the Nouvelle chicane. Now into back. Again, not quite right there by the inside. Into Larascas. You can lose a lot of time here just getting the power down. And, oh, he's decided to back out the lap very, very late. Puts it into reverse and then goes into the pit lane. Yeah, the bit that we saw there didn't quite look hooked up again. So, our guys there just having to pull out of a couple of laps, which isn't ideal for them. Currently still sitting in second and third. And of course, we've got time left to spare. Syrah has jumped into fourth, 8. Pretty close there, third to fifth. Just over 1/10 of a second separating. I'm sorry, 10th to third to sixth is quite close actually. 0.2 between those guys. The third to fifth is also close, just over 1/10 for that. I think a few have just joined us. I did say at the start, but unfortunately we only have 13 drivers today because we've got 3 teams missing in their entirety. The B teams of ILR and War LCR, and then also ERL, no drivers for them, and we've got 1 guy missing from RFL. So, shame that we've only got 13 today, but as I kind of said, we've still got good drivers there. Anyway, Verstappen, oh, it's got even closer between, that third to fifth battle has just got even closer. As they've all 3 just pumped in laps there, going ahead of Snaz Evening, all 3 of them. Melanie into third, 0.005 of a second quicker than Verstappen in fourth, and VSR Syrah into fifth. Again, very, very close, only another 13 thousandths back. So that battle for the final place in the top 3 is very, very close, and they're getting quite close there to MGX Joe's time as well, of a 1 minute 7.8 dead. So this is quite open at the moment, but Leopard has a 0.2 advantage at the top, which is around a very short. Is a good effort from him, but I think we can expect more from MGX Joe. Both of those laps on that run were compromised, as we saw from the onboard, and he pulled out of them, didn't he? So didn't even finish the laps. So he's still going off his time for the first run at the moment. Plenty of cars in the pits now. VSL Syrah the only car out on track, and as I say that, he's just... sorry, no one on a lap. People are out on track, but just doing their out laps. Snazzy Evening going around there. He's just gone past KJ Gamer. And Zouchi as well there to Cars in the Sauber Alfa Romeo. Of course, now just Alfa Romeo. As we will see on the new game, I was talking about this very briefly in Tier 2. We've only got 3 more rounds before we go on to, including this one, before we go on to the new game. And of course, a few changes to the liveries and stuff. No major changes, was there, on the grid this year, other than just livery changes. All the teams, of course, the same. And just the names and liveries being altered slightly. Anyway, snazzy evening in 6th position after being knocked down a few places. Oh no, and he's out now. He will be starting from 6th at best. Clips the inside wall. We saw MGX Joe almost do that. He turned out the corner and continued on with his session. But snazzy evening went for the corner. As it was only a few minutes left, I suppose he kind of thought, just go for it. And he's knocked the right front tyre off. And he's out of the session. So 6th, as I said, at best for him. There's a massive gap behind him, 0.6 of a second, so the guys currently behind him will have to find a lot of time to knock him down further. But he could have found quite a few places with a good lap, and now he won't be able to, so that's very disappointing for him. Top Tom also just retired there. Don't know if that was an incident or not, so I can't actually go on board, but it's a shame for him. He'll start outside of the top 10, at least he'll get choice of tyres, I guess. It's Joe now, through the Neville chicane. Struggled through this section of track earlier, but that looks good there. Oh, but no, again, just losing it through the swimming pool. The car all over the place, sliding everywhere. I think he's continuing on with the lap. He might have carried good speed through there, but boy, oh boy, was he right on the limit. Let's see whether it's cost him time. Oh, no, it hasn't. Haha, 7.3. That was a good effort. And yeah, the car just wasn't there for him. Sliding around all over the place. But he was right on the ragged edge. We saw that in Tier 2 as well. So I was kind of expecting that possibly to be a good time. You never quite know. But yeah, Bacon Yum in Tier 2 was all over the place on his lap and went to the top. And Onjits Joe's done exactly the same. Sliding through the swimming pool chicane, but at great speed. Which is enough to put him onto provisional pole by almost 0.3 of a second. So Leopard has to find a lot of time. 30 seconds, so this is it for him. If he's going to go to the top, he's going to have to put in the same amount of effort as MGX Joe did through there. Literally putting the car onto the ragged edge. Leopard looks more controlled through here, doesn't he? But is that quicker? I guess we'll see as he comes through Laraz Casper. He's lost it, he's clipped the inside wall, so that's him done. Second at best for him. VSR Sierra crosses the line and goes into 3rd position. And he actually he made it before the checkered flag, and he's having another go. So Sierra's got another chance. So he's got to find a couple more tenths if he's going to go another place higher. But he has got the opportunity at least. And he obviously jumped ahead of Melanie. Verstappen crashes big time into Tabac. Melanie follows him in through there. Oh, and he's hit him. He didn't ghost. Verstappen's car didn't ghost. And Melanie just drove straight into Verstappen's car. Both cars brought out there by a crash. Verstappen's car, you would have thought, would have ghosted. Ghosting is enabled, but yeah, Melanie just went into him. So odd. Melanie obviously thought the same because he went breakneck speed into there. And Sierra's cut the corner, so he's done. Oh, Leopard's still going. Did he? How does that happen? I thought he took the checkered flag. Did he make it before the checkered flag? He must have done, because he's been going for another lap. And he's going to cross the line now. And he does find a bit of time, but it's not quite enough. I just assumed that he would have... There was only a couple of seconds to go when he hit the wall. I thought he wouldn't have made it before the checkered flag, but it doesn't matter because the position stays the same. Although he did get a bit closer to MGX Joe. Yeah. In the end, 2nd place for him. Sierra in 3rd. Melanie and Verstappen both taken out. Well, Verstappen crashing on himself and then Melanie taken out by the car. And, yeah, we're left with Snazzy Evening still in 6th. He, of course, crashed. Just coming out of Casino Square. But then there was quite a big gap behind him in the end, which was brought down in the last rounds. But Zelchi there, actually, good effort from him. 7th on the ultra soft tyres. I didn't realise that. That's a good effort. The only man, or the highest man on the ultra soft tyres there behind Joe Leopard, Syrah, Melanie Verstappen, Evening, as I said. And then behind that, 3,000ths back is Rosberg, but he's on the hyper soft tyres. Then KJ Gamer also on the ultra soft tyres there. Sauber going with that strategy, TSRL. Then Infamous in 10th on the Hypersoft, and then outside the top 10 was Top Tom, Rozzy and Noel, who all get free choice of tyres for the start of the race. And we will see what those guys do tyre-wise in just a second in the formation lap. We'll to check the tyres, seeing what people are on. But I guess with only 13 drivers, TSRL have gone with the ultra soft tyres because they've just thought, well, the lowest we're going to be is 12th and 13th, which isn't really too bad. And in the end, it's worked out for them because they're 7th and 9th, which is a good effort on those tyres. And we'll put them in a reasonable position now in the race. They've kind of got a little bit more options strategically, maybe. And go a little bit longer if they want. Which might work out with safety cars. The undercut, as we proved in the Tier 2 race, is very, very strong. So, won't benefit them that way, but just gives them more options if there's a oddly timed safety car that doesn't work out for guys on the hypersoft tyres, which of course won't last as long. Right, we are now going in then for the formation lap. Let's check those tyres of the guys outside the top 10. Top Tom going with the ultra soft tyres. Flying Rozzy going with the super soft tyres, which we saw one guy doing Tier 2 as well. And NW Noel on the ultra soft tyres as well. So, seems like, even though, of course, track position is crucial here, seems like people still reasonably keen to put on the harder compound tyres, go a little bit longer, just try something a bit different, even though it might not leave them in great positions after they've made their pit stop, shall we say. But the main thing about Monaco, saw it in Tier 2, don't crash. We saw 6 retirements in the Tier 2 race, but a hell of a lot more cars with front wing damage from clipping the wall and everything. That's the crucial thing to avoid. You don't want damage, especially early on in the race, I guess, when it's all close and you've got to pit and drop to the back. But it's really, really hard to do over 39 laps. It takes so much concentration, and I guess we'll see. Will there be any safety cars? I think there probably will be, but with 13 drivers, maybe not quite so much drama as we saw in that Tier 2 race. But I guess only time will tell. MGX Joe just going through towards the final sector now of his warm-up lap. And LCR Leopard, of course, starting alongside him on the front row. Crucial that he gets through at the start, I'd say. MGX Joe, we know, doesn't make many mistakes, so you want to get past him at the start, really. That's probably your best opportunity. And Leopard needs to. He absolutely needs to, because that championship gap has to be brought down. And it has to start here, really, pretty much. If MGX Joe were to do 6 in a row, that would be pretty ominous, for the rest of the season. 39 laps ahead of him if he wants to do that, but he's starting from the perfect position. Turn 1 will be crucial, and it's coming up in just a few seconds' time. We have 5 lights above the drivers' heads. And we are racing in URC. Bit of a delay there, as we saw in the Tier 2 race. MGX Joe gets a good start, leads away. Leopard slots into second place, and we've got a car on the wall. Melanie there pushed out as Syrah was on the inside of him and forced Melanie into the wall by the looks of it. Snazzy Evening benefits up a couple of positions there ahead of Verstappen and, of course, Melanie as well. So he's moved up a couple of places. Zelchi into 6th, and his teammate KJ Gamer up into 7th place. They're just ahead of Cyril Rosberg, so good start there for TSRL, of course, on the ultra soft tyres. It should last a little bit longer. And we've got a Williams there, looks beached almost, but he's got going again. And you can see the major damage there to Melanie, so he's going to have to come into pit. Disastrous start for him. And disappointment there for War LCR. Not good start for their championship in terms of the league championship. ILR looking good, first and fourth. But Leopard right behind MGX Joe here on this opening lap. Quickly check the position changes here, a couple of people up, and then Melanie's actually the only person to go down a place, which is a shame for him. But yeah, MGX Joe there, 16.4 on the opening lap. He's getting off the line. It's going to be quite slow, but I think we saw. Be interesting to see what the lap times are kind of in this race. We saw a 10.5 as the fastest lap in the Tier 2 race. Yeah, this looks pretty close so far. Under half a second gap there between our leading duo, and got to go all the way down to 11th to see a gap of more than a second. All the gaps within the top 10 under a second at this early stage, which is quite nice to see. But MGX Joe looks like he's maybe slightly extended his advantage so far. It's Leopard really using the curbs there through the Neuville chicane. Now through to back. Now this is going to be... through the swimming pool section. Now I think this is going to be interesting. MGX Joe was all over the place in the swimming pool section in qualifying. He got the lap time together, but he was really on the edge, as I kind of said at the time. In the race, that's not ideal. That's a good lap straight away there. MGX Joe, 11.5. It's kind of only a second off the fastest lap in Tier 2, which we saw people setting towards the end of the race with the loads of fuel loads. So straight on it, everyone pretty much. Because MGX Joe isn't pulling away, so everyone's straight on the pace. Not holding back. Syrah's maybe slightly losing out now. That gap is just over a second. Means that early signs are perhaps it might be a two-horse race, but very, very early days, so we really don't know. A lot of things can change in an instant. MGX Joe's done a good job through there, and that gap is right up now, over a second for him. Gained half a second there. And does Leopard respond through the swimming pool section? Not really. So, I mean, for what it's worth, MGX Joe is outside of DRS there. But, oh, Snazzy Evening's in the pits. What's happened there? A bit of damage, maybe? Must be. At this early stage. Don't think this would be strategic, would it? Oh, it is! It is! It's a strategic stop. Interesting call. We saw early stops in Tier 2, but that is really, really early. As long as he's got clear air, isn't he? He's going to come out quite a long way behind NW Knoll, so he's got some clear air. Could be an opportunity. And as we say, the undercut is powerful and track position is crucial. So, and those tyres, those super soft tyres, will last a very, very long time. I mean, asking to do 36 laps out there was quite a lot. Oh, Verstappen's through on Syrah there. Verstappen is through. And, oh, that's a good opportunity then, isn't it? In the process of getting through, Verstappen, of course, therefore, was running behind Snazzy Evening in 5th. So Syrah has got damage, that's why. So, Syrah will have to pit. Leopard comes in as well. Yeah, this is really, really interesting. We saw early stops in Tier 2, but this is taking it to another level. And it's just forced cars into pitting. You have to do it. You have to respond. You cannot afford to lose track position. Which Syrah will now, because he's going to have to change his wing, which is going to cost him a lot of time. Leopard should be ahead of Snazzy Evening, but that gap is going to be brought down, isn't it? Snazzy Evening's a lot closer. And of course he's not got Syrah in front of him now, so he's got Leopard directly in front. And that's going to be interesting for the lead. MGX Joe didn't respond to his teammate. Wonder if they're in communication with each other or not. Melanie does a fastest lap, 11.3 on the super soft, so he's obviously going to, of course, try and go long after that first lap stop due to the damage. What will OMGXGO do? Surely he'll pit. There's no point staying out. You've got to respond. But it might be too late, because Leopard wasn't too far behind him. And if he's had a good lap, you just never know. We saw a massive gap being changed in the Tier 2 race, so I'm not counting anything out, really. I just assumed that Bacon Young would keep the lead at the stops, and he was actually behind. So I guess we'll see. One thing is for certain, it will be close. So he comes in. Super soft tyres going on, of course. Nothing else at this time is doable. Where is he going to come out? Oh, this is going to be really, really close. I think Leopard's got him. It has worked out again. Oh, and OMGXGO has crashed. He's crashed straight away coming out the pit lane. Unbelievable. I can't believe what I've just seen. The man who has won all 5 races so far this season has made a rookie error, crashing out of the pit lane. I think he was a little bit spooked by the fact that Leopard had jumped him, and he just tried to push too much coming out the pits. But that position was gone, Leopard was through, and OMGXGO trying all he could to make it back through has just hit the wall. I can't believe it. An absolute disaster. And that's going to cost him big, big style now. He's got to traipse all the way back to the pit lane with that damage, change the front wing. And that's going to put him a long way down the order. Damage limitation for the rest of this race. And LCR Leopard spoke to us after Spain. He said, I'm not giving up. 64 points, but I can make this up. It only takes 2 DNFs, and I'm back in this. And although that isn't a DNF, that's going to cost OMGXGO a lot of points, I would think. I suppose that's the one crumb of comfort he can take there. He didn't lose a tyre coming out the pits there, but I can't believe it. Out of the pit lane and straight into the wall. I don't know what he was trying to do. Leopard was in front. It was pretty clear, wasn't it? Leopard was going to be in front. However aggressively he took that pit exit. But he just got it completely wrong. What's happening now? Oh, of course he's serving a penalty, because just before he hit the wall, he picked up a penalty for corner cutting, because I think he crossed the pit exit line, which meant that therefore the game thought he was taking the corner. So he served that penalty now. He's put on the ultra soft tyres, which you wouldn't think would get him to the end of the race, so I'm surprised he's done that. He's coming very slowly out of the pit lane, and he's retired. Oh, that is, I can't believe what I've just seen. Why on earth has he retired? There's only 13 cars in this race. It's lap 8 at Monaco. He still could have got a few good points. I cannot believe it. This is going crazier and crazier by the second. He could have continued and still got a good result. We've got a long way to go. We could see a safety car. Plenty of people, I'm sure, will have incidents similar to him where they lose their front wing. I cannot believe that he is retired. He's given himself 0 points. He could have still picked up a few. Maybe that big championship lead has kind of made him think, oh, I can afford no points. But I'm very, very surprised to see that. No points for him then. No points at all for OMGXGO. Let's look at this from a strategic point of view now. Of course, we've got our leaders who are yet to stop. The 2 TSRL guys who look good in qualifying on those ultra soft tyres and are now running them in the race at the front. Nice to see that. Top Tom, who started on the ultra soft tyres from outside the top 10, so that was just his choice, free choice. And Flying Rozzy on the super soft tyres, but he pitted. He has pitted. Has he? No. Oh. It says... Oh, he hadn't crossed the finish line. I wonder why it said 7 laps, not... yeah. Okay, he's done 8 laps, so yeah, he did start on those tyres. I thought for a moment he hadn't, because it said... it said that he'd only done 7 laps on them. Here comes Infamous into the pit lane. Yeah, front wing change there. Of course, we saw Syrah changing his front wing. He's had another change. He's crashed again. He's had a second incident as Syrah. He's had to come into the pit lane for a second time. He's done the fastest lap now. But look at that. Not good for the VSR red team there. They're the only 2 cars running outside the points now. having made stops. I think Infinite, yeah, they've both made 2 stops. Zeros have both been for front wing changes. So that's not good for them. But that's 2 cars there. MGXJ would be 11th if he'd carried on. Melanie crashed on lap 1. He's already back into the top 10, picking up a point. I'm so surprised that MGXJ decided just to call it a day. Points are crucial. You need to pick them up. I think he's made a spur of the moment decision there. Oh, I've crashed. I've lost loads of time. Probably coming into the pits, serving a 5-second penalty. Waiting for that, changing his front wing. He thought, oh, I'm too far back. It's Monaco. Keep on going. You can still pick up a few points, I reckon. It's opened the door now for LCR Leopard to bring that championship lead right down. At the moment, as it stands, you would think he's going to take the win. Although, of course, at the moment, he's not actually leading because he's got cars who haven't pitted in front of him. He's going to bring that gap down to 35 points. Let's see. I think he's about to make up a position here on Rossi. Rossi doesn't fight him, and in fact, Rossi just lets Snazzy Evening right through as well. Ooh, although Snazzy Evening outbreaks himself a bit and has to cut over the Nouvelle chicane a little bit. But Rossi decided not to get in the way of the battle for the lead there. And it also opens it up nicely for War LCR in League Championship. Or I keep on calling it the League Championship. It's not anymore, is it? That's what it used to be called. We've obviously, of course, got esports teams in it now, so it is the Team Championship. Both leagues and esports teams entering this. So yeah, sorry, I should refer to it as the Team Championship. Yeah, that works out nicely for them as well. They're going to carry on closing the gap as it stands. Our War LCR on the ILR Black team. That's going to be quite close, possibly, after the end of this race. Monaco proving that it's one that can change the championship quite a lot. We've got quite a big gap now for Leopard. He's got 6 seconds to the next car of Tom. Then there's a 3-second gap to Zelchi, and then a 3-second gap to KJ Gamer. The fastest lap, 1 minute 10.8 on the ultra soft tyres. Yeah, showing good pace, these guys, on the ultra soft tyres. Nice clear air and plenty of drama behind means they should come out in a reasonable position, I think, here. Rosberg has just made his way through on NW Knoll, who I don't believe has stopped yet. No, he is probably the only man, well, he is the only man, isn't he, who's not stopped yet, but isn't doing too well out of it. Rossi's struggling slightly for pace, but he's on the super soft tyre, so he's got a long way to go in this stint. So you kind of expect his pace not to be great. But NW Knoll not doing brilliantly here, down in 9th despite not stopping. So when he does make his stop, I think he'll drop to the bottom of the pack, which is a little bit disappointing. I've just had a message through. Joe has informed someone, F1 Maestro, that his wheel is broken. And that explains a lot. That obviously explains, if your wheel's broken, that explains why you would retire. And oh, LCR Leopard's picked up a 3-second time penalty. Oh dear, Leopard, that's not good. He's going to have to work for this now, because if Snazzy Evening doesn't pick up a penalty and is within 3 seconds, then the win goes to him. So that's not good for Leopard at all. Long way to go, so plenty of time for Snazzy even to pick up a penalty as well. But yeah, Zelchi comes into the pits now. I think he'll come out. Just had a Rosberg. Yeah, just had a Rosberg. So that's worked out reasonably for him. Yeah, I think that's worked out pretty well. Now on the super soft tyres, which will. Oh, Flying Rossi's retired. Just seeing the car there. Casino Square, clip the inside wall. We've seen a few people do that today throughout the 2 races. And he is out from a good position. That's a shame for him. But yeah, so going back to MGXJ, sorry, yeah, his wheel broke, so that explains a lot. That explains why he retired when he came into the pits. So it wasn't a kind of, I give up kind of thing. It was a genuine problem for him. And it could have been the reason why he crashed coming out of the pit lane as well, actually. It makes a lot of sense. So I suppose if we can get a little bit more clarification on that would be good, because it did seem like a very odd mistake for someone who is so consistent to make. Second TSRL guy is in now, KJ Gamer, coming into the pit lane, again putting on the super soft tyres and going to the end. Those guys are going to have good tyres, and they're going to have good position as well. KJ Gamer will be just behind Verstappen, and with the fresher tyres, he could be able to challenge him, actually. As, oh, crikey, actually, no, KJ Gamer is ahead of Verstappen. That's worked out well for him. So, I expected him to be just behind, but that's worked out brilliantly. He's ahead of Verstappen. And he's got the fresher tyres as well, so you should be able to pull away. Of course, everyone's pit stops were forced so early by that move from Snazzy Evening to make the early stop. So that's going to compromise those guys that went early in terms of their tyre wear for the rest of the race. KJ Gamer and Zelchi looking good there. 4th and 6th, good tyres. I expect Tom then will probably come out around about Rosberg, probably just behind, I would think. Can't stay out too long because then he'll get jumped by Melanie as well, so I think he's got to come in now. And he's got Leopard right behind him now, so that will lose him more time. So yeah, good decision coming to the pits now. 25 laps is going to be asking him super soft tyres, which means he'll be able to really push hard on them. A good opening stint for Top Tom then. I think he will be just ahead of Melanie. Because there's just those few extra laps he's done compared to Zelchi will probably mean he's behind Rosberg. No, I've got it wrong again. He's ahead of Rosberg quite convincingly, actually. I got it completely wrong. So Top Tom slots into 6th place there. And KJ Gamer, out of all that, is actually now into a podium position. So that's worked out brilliantly, that first stint for TSRL. Qualifying on the ultra soft tyres was always going to be tough, but they made a good job of it. They got to 7th and 9th on the grid, kept themselves clean at the start, got to the front, clean air, ran nicely on the ultra soft tyres. I think people, to be honest, people pitted so early onto the super soft tyres that they didn't really have a benefit in terms of wear. They weren't putting on much fresher tyres compared to the guys at the front because they were pitting after 3 laps pretty much. So I guess that's why their pace wasn't great compared to... Oh, NW Knowles retired. So we've only got 10 cars running now, of which the VSR guys are still distant at the back, having already made 2 stops. But let's just quickly check. Has Snazzy Evening picked up any warnings so far? He has. He's picked up 3 warnings, which is usually enough to get you a penalty. So I don't know why he hasn't got a penalty. But no more warnings for Leopard. So as it stands, Snazzy Evening would win the race. He's within 3 seconds. He hasn't got a penalty. But he can't pick up any more warnings. If he picks up another warning, he'll get a penalty as well. And that'll bring it back onto a level playing field. And in fact, I suppose if KJ Gamer doesn't have a penalty, which I'll check all this more frequently towards the end of the race. I did that quite a lot in the Tier 2 race just to keep a track of where people are due to finish. Quite hard to keep on top of the penalties sometimes. Yeah, KJ Gamer could be in. If he doesn't pick up a penalty and has good pace on those slightly fresher tyres, you never know. He could be within 3 seconds on Snazzy Evening and go up to 2nd. But stands, I think... If I'm brutally honest, I don't think he will have the pace. Oh, Verstappen's in, he must have damage. This wouldn't be a scheduled pit stop, would it? He would not come in now. So yeah, that front wing changes. Doesn't... Yeah, it's to the right-hand side. Just missing the end plate there. New wing goes on. He'll be ahead of the 2 VSR... No, he's not. He's going to be behind Sirat and probably behind Infamous as well, because they're line astern, aren't they? So yeah, he goes right to the back, unfortunately, does VSR Verstappen. Puts on the ultra soft tyres, which should have good pace to the end. I think those 2 guys in front of me will have to pit again, because they put on the ultra softs quite a few laps ago, so they're going to struggle to get to the end on those. But look at this, not a good race for VSR. They're very lucky there's only 10 drivers still running in this, because they're vacating the bottom 3 positions, and then Rosberg just ahead of Melanie. Melanie, of course, pitted on lap 1, so whether he'll be able to get those tyres to the end, I don't know. They are the super softs though, so it is possible, I guess, if he really pushes them. But yeah, these guys on the ultra soft tyres surely are going to have to pit again. They're not going to be able to get over 25 laps off them, I wouldn't think. Look, that brings TSRL back together again. The cars that were 1, 2, 3 after the leaders had stopped are now 3, 4 and 5, so that's worked out really well for them. Ciro picks up a penalty. He's going to really have to hope. The VSR guys are really going to have to hope for mistakes from other guys here, because at the moment it's not going to work out for them this race in terms of points. 8th and 9th, not much good in that, I'm afraid. You would think it would be 9th and 10th, unless there's mistakes, of course. I've got quite a spread out field now. Melanie, well, I suppose Infamous is close to Ciro, but he's not going to. Zelch picks up a time penalty. Won't change his position as it stands, and as long as he doesn't make a mistake, I don't think it will. I think he's got probably a bit more pace than Top Tom. He's got to avoid mistakes, which you have to do anyway. But yeah, Infamous is close to Ciro, but he's not going to have a go. So the only driver that's really going to have maybe an attempt at overtaking is Rosberg on, Melanie on Rosberg. The other cars have got quite big gaps between them at the moment. Just about keeping a rhythm. And a bit more an update on Joe. He says he felt like the brakes just didn't register coming out the pit lane. So that does make sense, doesn't it? Coming out the pits, of course. Here it's basically going into turn 1. Yeah, Snaz Evening has now picked up a time penalty. So him and Leopard both have a time penalty, and that gap is extending anyway. So that's looking back in Leopard's favour now. But yeah, coming out the pits, you've still got to take the corner, so you need brakes. And it obviously didn't register, which that does make sense, doesn't it? He's, by the sounds of it, he's not completely sure, but it makes sense, doesn't it? And of course, driver feeling is your gut driver feeling is usually right. Verstappen's picked up a penalty as well. We're seeing quite a few of these now. Down in 10th place, he's coming up to the two VSR red guys here, and he'll have more pace than them because he's got fresher tyres. Will there be inter-team orders here? Will VSR Red get out the way for VSR Black? This is going to be quite interesting. How closely intertwined are the two teams? Do they work together, or are they complete rivals? I guess we'll see running up here into Casino Square. Oh, he's not getting right out the way, is Infamous. Yeah, this looks very much in Leopard's favour now. He's pulling away from Snazzy Evening. So even if he was to pick up another time penalty, a second 3-second penalty, he would still actually beat Snazzy Evening. Now Verstappen is now through on Infamous. Looks like Infamous did let Verstappen through, so those guys are playing together. It makes sense, obviously. Red are that main. Oh, Infamous has hit the wall. That's surely damage, isn't it? Yeah, to the right-hand side, so he's going to have to come in. I mean, I said he would have had to stop anyway. That just brings that pit stop forward, which isn't ideal. And I'll come in. Yeah, VSR Red is the main team, isn't it? But VSR Black also putting in a strong effort so far this season in 5th place. Not too many points. I mean, VSR Red have 90 points, VSR Black have 28 points, but in terms of league position, they're still going. And in fact, with a complete War LCR B team no-show, I haven't seen any of their drivers, even in 6th and 9th, which I think is about to become 6th and 8th, if Syrah plays by the same rules as Infamous did, that'll help them close up on 4th place, actually. So it is worth doing this. It seems a bit odd, doesn't it? The lead team helping the second team, but I think it does make sense. Verstappen is quicker, I don't think there's any point in ruining his race to benefit the other team. I think they probably will play together here. Infamous certainly did. Cyril has to pit again anyway, doesn't he? How many laps has he done on these ultra soft tyres? They're not going to last the end, surely. He's done 14 laps, 15 laps now on them already. He won't want to go to the end. He might as well... I suppose he might as well... What I would do, I'd let Verstappen through first of all, which I don't think he is going to. No, he's fighting it, actually. So, playing differently there to what Infamous did. I'd let him through. Try and extend this stint. Check on a set of hyper soft tyres towards the end and try and do fastest lap. And they could both do that. Both Sirat and Infamous can work together. They can both work it out. They can think, right, I'll pit, do hyper soft tyres. If I don't get the fastest lap, then Infamous, you can pit, and I'll pit again or something. They can work it out between them. If they're in the bottom two place, Sirat does now let through Verstappen. That was a definite letting him through, although he did wait a whole lap to do so. But yeah, if they're in the bottom two positions, you can play around with that to try and get that extra point for fastest lap, especially when your teammates, so I think that's probably what they'll do. Rosberg's pace is disappointing, I have to say. Melanie pitted on lap 1. And yeah, Rosberg's tyres are 5 laps fresher. But Melanie is a bit quicker, I think. That is a bit of a shame there. But I suppose it does benefit his teammate, doesn't it? Because it's just allowed Verstappen now to close up on Melanie. Close that gap. Of course, there's a good chance that Rosberg will still be able to beat Melanie. Melanie has to have a real pace advantage to get through. You need a good, almost a couple of seconds. Infamous does the fastest lap. Currently on the ultra soft tyres. 10.1 is a good lap. We didn't see, that's faster than anything we saw in Tier 2, and we saw people having a go with hypersoft tyres towards the end in Tier 2. Yeah, you need a couple of seconds really to be able to get through. It is very, very tough, as we know, to overtake in Monaco. Melanie does seem to have an advantage, but not that much. Oh, here we go. I spoke about this, didn't I? Snazzy Evening has to be careful with KJ Gamer. He's dropped back from Leopard, 5.1 seconds now. Oh, Verstappen's in the pit. Has Verstappen picked up more damage? He has. Verstappen's crashed again, so he's coming to the pits for a second time now. Oh dear. And he'll go back to the foot of the field. That's a shame. Things going from bad to worse, really, for VSR here. But yeah, Snazzy Evening has fallen away from Leopard. And KJ Gamer now within 3 seconds, so time for a quick race director check. We know Snazzy Evening has a penalty. KJ Gamer just has the one single warning. And this is over... Verstappen's picking up a 5-second stop-go for crossing the pit lane line. Oh dear, this is just not a good race at all for VSR at the moment. I mean, they will still pick up some points, but yeah, just not going well for them. Yeah, so we're well over half distance. KJ Gamer only has one warning, so if he keeps on going like this, pace-wise and avoiding corner-cutting warnings like he has done, he could finish in second position here. We know that CRGA Zelchi has a penalty already. He's got to watch out for Top Tom, who's within 3 seconds. That's another one that could change. Zelchi, in fact, has 2 penalties. Oh, no, he doesn't have to worry. Top Tom has 3 penalties and a few more warnings. Top Tom, you've got to be careful here. You've got to avoid the penalties, basically. We did previously have a rule in URC that if you picked up 4 corner-cutting penalties, you were excluded from the results. But we decided to drop that for this season because, and at the end of the day, you are still serving a penalty for corner cutting. And we did find that quite a few people were falling foul of it, which of course we don't want to encourage corner cutting, but if loads of people are getting excluded when they would be penalised anyway, it's not like they're getting away with it, we thought to drop that. But still, I suppose he's got a massive gap to Rosberg behind, but you've got to be careful from in-game disqualification. Verstappen's pitted again, and he's crossed the pit exit line again. Dearie me, I don't know why he stopped again, first of all, and then he's made the same mistake again, picked up another 5-second penalty. He's just going to be looking for fastest lap now, because he's way off the back of the pack. Sira has also pitted as well for another time. But this man, LCR Leopard, only going to be 25 points. The fastest lap point is not going to be on the cards because of all those guys at the back who are going to be able to have a go at it. He's not going to be able to do that, but 25 points. If he can hold on to it, still quite a few laps to go. 12 and a half. And that's going to bring his championship lead, OMG Joe, down to 39 points. Sira not making the benefit he should have. Currently only 4 points, which it's of course only going to move him very slightly closer to OMG Joe. But this man is making a big move in this championship. 39 points, breaking OMG Joe's win streak, which of course we know is over because he's out the race. Does seem like it was unfortunate for Joe, a wheel failure by the sounds of it. And that certainly adds up with what we saw as well. Sira moves the bar even higher with that fastest lap at 9.9. On the ultra softs though, I think if someone puts on the hypersoft tires they can find even more time. Yeah, 39 points. Game back on, I'd say. As I said in qualifying, we have got a game change coming up this round, which is nearing its conclusion now. And then Canada, France, of course for the first time in URC because it's a new track. Quite a lot of new rounds, of course, this season as we're doing the full calendar compared to only like 10 or so races that we did last year. But yeah, first trip there, and then we're on to the new game in Austria, which is going to be an interesting one. See how that shapes up the pack, and of course people won't have much time to find their feet on the new game before they're going into an ultra competitive league race, so going to be interesting to see. I think we will see quite a switch up in the order. There's no doubting though really that OMG Joe and Leopard are still going to be towards the front. Whether they'll be the guys to beat though, we don't know. We really don't know that, because there are plenty of really capable drivers here who could just go to the next level on F1 2019. But yeah, there's no doubt these guys are going to be able to put in the effort and have the talent to be right at the front once again as we go into the main chunk of the season, I guess. It's a bit odd to think like that, but yeah, F1 2019 is where we're going to spend most of the season, so more important to be on that competitive on that game than be competitive on here. OMG of course has started the season very well, but if let's say, I don't think it will happen as I've just said, but if he was rubbish on F1 2019, that good form on F1 2018 is not really too important in comparison. Right, we've got 10 and a bit laps to go then. Leopard looks in control of this. I hope I don't commentator's curse this, but no, well and truly looks in control. And KJ Gamer is looking good for second position here with Snazzy Evening. Of course, with a penalty. Good result there for TSRL. I don't think they've had a podium so far this season. Just check that quickly. Selchi hasn't had one. In fact, his best result was a 9th, so big improvement there if he can finish in 4th. Tops on behind him has got stacks of penalties, so that should be alright. And then there's a big gap to Rosberg. Yeah, in terms of KJ Gamer, his best result was a 6th last time out in Spain. Well, I think he's going to get past Snazzy Evening here. Snazzy Evening seems to have lost all of his pace. He doesn't have damage. to that front wing by the looks of it, but yeah, he seems to have lost the pace completely, and KJ Gamer's got a good opportunity of passing him on track. Yeah, KJ Gamer only had 2 points in Spain, and he took 8 there, and looks on for 18 here, so rather cracking. And that season suddenly just on a massive upward spiral, which gives him great confidence going into the last few races on this game. Rosberg just does not have the pace of the guys in front, does he? Melanie's still right behind him. I think they are quite closely matched. But I do think Melanie is just a little bit faster and he's a tiny bit frustrated behind Rosberg here. Still giving it a mighty good effort. Sirrus's pace on these ultra soft tyres has been stunning. Absolutely stunning. He's caught back up to these guys, having made his pit. He was 17 seconds down or something a few laps ago. Now it's 5, and of course he's put in the front. So actually that, I kind of thought once they made their stops, those VSR guys would be out of it. But such as the tyre advantage they've got there, they've managed to close back up. And I think if Rosberg continues this kind of pace, they're going to be right back behind him. Could be a bit of a team game, couldn't it, of course, because Rosberg is the sister team for the VSR Black for the two, for Ciro and Infamous in the VSR Red team. So could be a bit of team game, maybe, backing up Melanie, because there's nothing to be gained in front for Rosberg. Oh, we're seeing rain, it's raining! Oh my word, it's raining! It's raining, it's raining, it's raining, with 7.5 laps to go. It is raining. Elsie Leopard will not be happy or a bit with that. He's got this race under control, and this is exactly the kind of thing that could put an end to it, isn't it? Wow. They've got to be ever so careful now. Just a little bit of grip loss. You're into the wall. So they've got to be careful. Still looks comfortably like slick tyres at the moment, but it certainly looks cloudy, so it looks like it's not just a passing shower, it's going to be a bit of chunk of rain. Just a few spits and spots at the moment. I think they might. I don't know, there's still plenty of time for it to get harder in it, for require a change onto the intermediate tyres. But you might see a few guys trying to take the slick tyres to the end, possibly. Snazzy Evening must have damage here, surely. It doesn't look like he does though, but his pace is terrible. He's losing time hand over fist to Leopard, and the guys are closing in behind. Syrah has worked his way through on Melanie. The charge continues for Syrah. He's looked so good on those ultra soft tyres. I suppose they're giving him the grip that he wants, and Melanie, those tyres are 32 laps old, so really not ideal to then have a little bit of loss of grip. Yeah, look at this. Snazzy Evening is just back KJ Gamer into Zelchi and Tom. KJ Gamer doesn't need to lose his head there. He doesn't have a penalty. Zelchi behind him does, and Top Tom behind him has 3 penalties. I mean, he might not know that, but just be patient. Just be patient. You know that you'll go in front of Snazzy Evening. You might have been told that by his engineer. You would have thought over these few laps the car in front was a penalty. You don't get told much about cars behind him. So the engineer just seems to say, oh, well, the car in front's got a penalty. Oh, Verstappen has retired. And he's not had a good race. And it's ended in the wall as well. So that's a shame for him. Rain still not very hard. I think they might try and take the slick tyres to the end here. Sirius through on Rosberg as well. And you can see there the damage for Verstappen just went straight on. He went straight on at the Nouvelle chicane, so I think he might have just done a bit of a purposeful DNF maybe. But Rosberg is back through on Ciro, which makes me think that Ciro maybe skipped the chicane and let him back through. But it's only a matter of time, surely, until Sira gets through anyway, you would think. And Infamous as well is showing good pace. Rosberg doesn't fight it too hard. There's no point. I know there's only a few laps to go, but Sira's pace on these ultra soft tyres has been absolutely incredible. Those guys on old super soft tyres just can't respond to that. I think they're going to be able to make it to the end on slicks here. The rain is not going any harder. It's just still drizzle, very light drizzle. It does look dark. The lights are obviously doing quite a bit of a job here, which you don't often see during, this is obviously a daytime race. The lights actually doing quite a big job here, such as the cloud. Yeah, I think they'll be able to make it to the end on slicks, because this has taken quite a long time to rain hard here, so I think they'll be alright. I'm surprised that Snazzy Evening is struggling this much. He doesn't have damage, does he? I'm sure. Both end plates are intact, and those are the things that you would think you would knock off. Because you'd hit the side of the wall, wouldn't you? So, I think he's fine, but maybe just lacking a little bit of confidence. That's just allowing Leopard to not really have to worry. He doesn't have to push. He can be nice and calm about this situation with the rain. Infamous is through on Melanie into Mirabeau. I think he'll be able to get past Rosberg as well. It's a shame for Melanie. He's fought really hard on those tyres. Pitted on lap 1. Has been right behind Rosberg throughout this stint. Hasn't been able to get through. And Rosberg's lack of pace has just allowed these VSR guys to just fly through by making an extra pit stop. There goes Infamous. 6th and 7th. Not too bad there for VSR Red. They'll be quite happy with that. Given their struggles throughout this race. Yeah, look at this. They're all travelling in packs, aren't they? Leopard all by himself. Then Snazzy Evening, KJ Gamer, Zelchi, Top Tom all together. And then Sira, Infamous, Rosberg and Melanie all quite close to each other. But, yeah. Yeah, it's not going to get heavy enough this rain, is it? In fact, I'd say this hasn't really affected things too much. Let's just quickly check the lap times. We'll check someone who's been pushing hard to see what their lap times have been like. Yeah, lap time's not too affected at all, really. Only a couple of seconds off, so rain really hasn't come to anything. It would have been quite a nice little change up, shall we say, at the end if it had properly come down, but I suppose it's at least given them something to think about in these last few stages. Yeah, this is hardly affecting grip, really. Last few laps now. These guys have just got to keep it calm. It's an odd situation because KJ Gamer will be, as long as he doesn't pick up a penalty, he will be ahead. Rosberg picks up a penalty. He will be ahead of Snazzy Evening. And Snazzy Evening doesn't have to worry because Zelchi also has a penalty and Top Tom has lots of penalties. So, really, it's an odd situation. There's no point in Top Tom passing Zelchi because he'll end up behind him anyway. There's no point in Zelchi attacking his teammate. He won't. Really, there's no point in KJ Gamer attacking Snazzy Evening. And there's no point in Snazzy Evening massively defending from KJ Gamer. Or from like, Top Tom or whatever. So, yeah, it's an odd situation. They're all probably best if they just stick in position, but as I said before, do they actually know what the situation is regarding penalties? Probably not. Not fully, that's for certain. Sira's picked up another penalty. He might drop a position here, because that's at least his second, isn't it? This is third. This fourth penalty. He's had 4 penalties. Infamous he's only had 1 warning. And Rosberg only has 1 penalty, the one that he just picked up. And Melanie doesn't have a single warning. Oh, I respect that massively for Melanie there. KJ Gamer is having a go. He's going around the outside of Snazzy Evening into Casino Square. And he's got it done. What a move. What a move. He didn't have to get it done for the position, but he's got it done anyway. And that moves him up to second on track. And what a way to do it. Cracking effort there from him. He's been behind Snazzy Evening for quite some time, but he's now through. and into second place. What a drive from KJ Gamer it's been. Well, that just tops it off brilliantly. Yeah, that could switch things up quite a lot actually. Sira 12 seconds at the moment will put him right back to the back. And Melanie, from all that, I mean, he could end up in 7th, couldn't he? Because as long as he stays within 3 seconds of Rosberg, Top Tom picks up another penalty. That's his 4th or 5th for Tom. Yeah, Melanie, as long as he stays within 3 seconds of Rosberg, he'll go up to 8th. And as long as he's within 12 seconds of Sira... Oh, Snazzy Evening's lost it! I don't believe what I've seen! Once again, another big mistake late on. Snazzy Evening crashes at the end of the penultimate lap. And that moves Zelchi into the podium position. I said that Zelchi had a penalty. But that's not going to change things now because Snazzy Evening has crashed big time and dropped a long way back. Top Tom has picked up another penalty for his collision with Snazzy Evening, but I think that was just in the aftermath of Snazzy Evening clipping the wall all by himself. Looked like he'd just clipped the wall, hit the rear wheel and spun him round. I don't know, it might have been Zelchi, but it wouldn't have been Top Tom. He wasn't the car directly behind, so that penalty probably just for... just an odd in-game penalty. He's probably able to get that removed. But Tom has so many penalties anyway, it won't affect him. Right, anyway, let's go back to the front, because LCR Leopard, he's done it. He's broken the winning streak of OMG Joe. He's taken a win in dominant fashion. What a great performance from him. And moves up in the championship very, very nicely. Drama at the end, but not involving KJ Gamer. He made a great move on Snazzy Evening, and it's about to take a much-deserved second position. Zelchi is going to make it a double podium for TSRL, and Top Tom will cross the line in 4th, but massive penalties, including a 5-second unserved stop-go. Don't know whether that was fair or not, but he had loads of penalties anyway. Means that Snazzy Evening regains 4th. Don't know what happened to Snazzy Evening. Was it a collision with Zelchi? Was it hitting the wall himself? We don't know. I guess we'll see on that one. In the end, they both had a 3-second time penalty, didn't they? So, and that levels it out. So, well, I guess we'll see whether it was a collision. Might be taken to the stewards. That might change the final podium position. But yeah, I really don't know whether it was contact or whether it was just a mistake from Snazzy Evening. But there we go. LCR Leopard at the moment 39 points behind now in the championship, but this momentum that he'll carry from here could put him into a serious championship challenge. We will see. And TSRL are going to be absolutely delighted with that. 2 cars on the podium. Massive points for them. 33. Really, I mean, that more than doubles their effort so far this season. So, fantastic for them. They're going to be delighted. And War LCR are also going to be delighted because they've gained points in the team championship as well with that result. So yeah, Leopard is our winner. KJ Gamer in 2nd. Zelchi actually had 2 time penalties, sorry. Ended up in 3rd ahead of Snazzy Evening in 4th. Top Tom was in 5th. Infamous was in 6th. Sira actually managed to create a gap. So despite those 4 time penalties, he actually still managed to beat Melanie. Such was the tyre performance he had. Great result there from him. Melanie did 38 laps on the super soft tyres, and in the end was rewarded with 8th place. It's very close to 7th actually, and Rosberg ending up last. Didn't quite have the pace, but avoided mistake, picked up 2 points for it. Fastest lap went to Sira, so he picks up 7 points. That's not a bad effort. Verstappen, NW Noel, Flying Rossi, and of course OMG It's Joe were our 4 retirements from this race. Well, that was a really interesting race, and we will just have a quick word with our podium sitters. We've spoken to Leopard, of course, a few times this season, but 2 new guys talking here, KJ Gamer and CRGA Zelchi, who of course going to be delighted with their results. So just going to quickly get those guys into the party chat for a quick interview, and then we'll move on to the action in PS4. Okay. Okay, so that's just waiting for Leopard now to join. Make sure to include your audio, guys, in the stream, and then we will have a quick word about this race. Come on, Leopard. We have got to get things moving quite quickly because of the PS4 action. So I think I'll just quickly we'll get right into it. I'll come to Leopard later if he joins. Oh, here he is. No, he's just saying it. So we will start with Leopard then. Make sure to include your audio, mate. And there we go. The streak is broken. OMG, Joe retiring, of course, but you managed to jump him at the pit stops and had great pace throughout the race. So a really good win for you. You must be really, really happy for both this race and the effect it's had on the championship.
Yeah. It was quite sweaty, to be quite honest, being Monaco. Couldn't really relax at all. Pretty much up until the point where I think Snazzy got wing damage somewhere along the line. I saw him lose like a second or two in the space of 2 laps to me. I was like, okay, I can relax now. But yeah, good result. Not just the result itself, the Drivers' Championship, for the Constructors' Championship. Yeah, it was a very good day for the team and myself.
Yeah, and really good strategic call, of course, there to make that early pit stop, and quite a long way on the super soft tyres because of that. You know, of course, we had a very early stop from Snazzy Evening, the first guy to come in. But did you manage the tyres all right? Was that any problem throughout the race?
Not a huge problem. It was a bit iffy like the last few laps, but then it was pretty much just take it easy. And plus, it was raining, so I don't know what effect that had. They were quite worn. Not as much as I'd expect or that I've done from previous league races. But yeah, because there was no pressure, it was pretty much all relaxed. No need to completely overdrive the car or anything like that.
Right, now we'll move on to the first TSRL guys who have come onto the podium for the first time. KJ Gamer, congratulations on your second place. Bit of a different strategy. You went with the ultra soft tyres in qualifying. Ran really nicely at the beginning of the race, and that put you in a really good position to then take second position. You must be really, really happy.
We can't believe it, to be honest. That was a great race, yeah. Well, thank you for Lewis to letting me buy on the ultra stint as well. That really helped. But yeah, that was difficult with Snazzy at the end as well.
Yeah, so obviously Snazzy was really backing up. From what I could see on the spectator cams, it didn't look like he had damage, but it something happened because his pace was really, really slow. He did actually have a penalty, so you didn't have to get past him, but that was just a lot of added pressure, wasn't it? Having to have a big pack of cars together towards the end, and of course that ended up in the incident of Snazzy Evening, which we'll get onto later. But yeah, quite a lot of pressure there towards the end to keep that podium place, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he pitted very early, and so you could see through every checking zone he was struggling. I was catching him at seconds per lap at one point, and then he was just parking it on the apex of every corner until I think he got damaged at one point at turn 1, but that must have made it worse. And then Lewis told me got to get past because he had top Tom behind him, so I sent it around the outside at Casino and got it done.
That was a
finally got past him. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a brilliant overtake. That was fantastic to see, and yeah, executed it to perfection. And then moving on to Zelchi, our final podium sitter. Didn't quite catch what happened with Snazzy Evening. What was your view of that, obviously, behind him?
Oh, well, he just hit the wall at Raskas. He did it on lap 37, going on to 38, where KJ passed him, because it was crucial that he got past. I had 6 seconds worth of penalties, so he had to get past that lap, and then on lap 38, he hit the wall again. and
Yeah.
I got past, but Tom got damage from that. So Tom had more penalties. I was on the podium anyway, so just going slow on the last lap. Don't want to crash. It's like a podium in like a major league. It's just I didn't think it was possible, especially not on this game anyway. But I'm buzzing about the result.
Yeah, it was a really good drive. As a team, as you say, working together, getting the strategy calls right, and putting good pace together. And of course, with Monaco, avoiding the mistakes, which Snazzy even he did all the way to the end. But then he made that error due to the pressure that you guys put onto him. Anyway, we have got to quickly move on, unfortunately, because PS4 action is underway. So just going to have to wrap it up there. But final congratulations to all three of you. A great result. And next time we will be in Canada. So make sure to join us then for that. Thank you very much and goodbye.